Hello, and welcome to Mel-Tran Design's Knitting Corner, episode 4. I'm your host, Melissa, also known as Anansi on Ravelry, and on Plurk and Twitter, it is Mel-Tran Designs. Today is January 2nd, 2013, for about 20 more minutes. It's late. The podcast is late. I'm sorry. With the holidays and everything, it's been a little bit crazy, so this is the first chance I've really had to record. So it'll be a short week because I'll get back onto hopefully get back onto my regular schedule next week on Monday. So, anyways, let's get into things. Happy New Year! It's a brand new year and ready for fresh starts and fun things hopefully in store for all of us and in our knitting and anything else that we have going on. Let's see, happenings this week. Well, since the last time I recorded, we have had Christmas, which I will talk about later in acquisitions, and we did our normal stuff like I talked about last time. We went to with my in-laws on Christmas Eve, and then we went and spent the night at my dad's house, and on Christmas Day we were able to open all of our presents and spend time with that side of the family, and my grandparents were able to come over, which was a nice treat because I don't remember the last time we've had Christmas with them. I don't know. I don't even know if maybe when I was a really little kid. I don't even remember having Christmas with them, to be honest. So it was a lot of fun to have them over for dinner and get to spend time with them. The day after Christmas, my husband and I got to get out for a date night. We went with a couple of friends, and we got to go see Les Mis, and it was amazing. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'm sure you've heard of it. I've seen the play a few times, and the movie was spectacular. They did a great job. They didn't leave out any of the pertinent stuff. You know, they figured out ways to cut it shorter because, you know, when you go to the play, you're there for 4 hours, and this was a, I don't know, two-hour movie, but it was great. The singing was great. The acting was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Bawled my eyes out. So if you're going to go, take a box of Kleenexes with you. There's your warning. For New Year's, we were just going to stay home and have a quiet evening. My two girls were going to be gone all night at a lock-in that they have at the rec center here in town. Eli's not old enough yet. You have to be 6 to go. So Kyan and Anansi were there, and we were just going to stay home and have, you know, just have a quiet night. And my aunt sent out a text and said, hey, everybody come over to our house for New Year's Eve and bring finger foods and some sparkling cider. So we decided to go to that, and it was a lot of fun. We played Nerds. I don't know if you've ever played that. It's a card game. It's kind of like group speed solitaire. You can all play off each other's stuff in the middle, and then you have your own, you know, stuff going in front of you. It's a lot of fun. If you've never played it, you should look it up. It gets quite addicting, and we played for, I don't know, a couple hours, 3 hours. I don't even know. We lost track of time. She made us stop when it came down to midnight so we could all, you know, do cheers and all that. And we left there about 2:15 in the morning. I went out to start my car, and it was so cold. It had dropped down to 7 degrees, and it hasn't quite hit that low yet, and all I had on were pajama pants, which aren't that thick, and a hoodie. And so going out to start my car was a horrible ordeal, just to go start the car. So I told my sister that we couldn't leave till it had at least been 15 minutes that it had been running. And anyway, so by the time we got home, it was, you know, 2:25, and then my husband and other sister and brother-in-law had gone back to my dad's house, and my sister had stayed here, so they had to come back to get her and to drop my husband off, and they didn't get here till close to 3:30. And then by the time my husband and I went to bed, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I don't usually stay up that late. I'm usually kind of a night owl. I'll go to bed at midnight and sometimes a little after, but not usually 4. So that was interesting. And then the next day, yesterday, I had been invited to go over to one of my students' house for an afternoon of knitting and fun, and I got to meet some of her knitting friends, and that was a lot of fun. And if any of you are from that group, hi, and welcome to my show. I know that Judy watches. Hi, Judy. So they were a lot of fun, and one of the gals is actually going to start taking one of my classes, a class that I do, not really a class, I guess. It's essentially an hour of my time that I sit and can help with whatever type situation. So kind of class, but not really structured. She's gonna start doing that, and that'll be a lot of fun. And we just ate and knit and talked, and it was a great way to bring in the new year. That brings us to today. Oh no, yesterday. Huge thing happened yesterday. For the first time in an entire year, in more than a year, because it started last year on January 1st, I bought yarn just because I wanted to, because it was pretty. That was the only reason. Because I could. Because 2012 is done, and I can buy yarn whenever I want, for whatever I want, all the time, unless I don't have any money. And it felt great. I went on at 12:05. I ended up having to wait a little bit. I was still at my aunt's house. I went on and I bought one whole ball of yarn. It's another Twisted Limon self-striping yarn, and she shipped it out today, and I can't wait to get that. And I have some other things coming. I got to buy my first yarn from Fiber Addiction, and I'm really excited about that. I love her colors, and I'm looking forward to buying more from her. And some yarn from another gal that I'm not familiar with. And when I get it, I'll show you the tag and everything. But anyways, I didn't go crazy. I have 2 self-striping skeins, and then the things that I bought from Fiber Addiction, it's 2 skeins of one and 1 skein of another. So I didn't go nuts. I didn't go over the top like most people expected I would. I do have a couple people who I'm wanting to buy from, but both of them had empty shops, so I'm hoping to catch some updates here pretty soon. So that was a lot of fun. And I've been kind of stalking Etsy and finding all sorts of new people to add to my favorites, and my list is getting quite long, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. And so between Etsy and Plurk, I haven't got a lot of knitting done at home the last couple days because I've been on my new toy that you'll see later. So, okay, let's see. 2012 recap. I just want to talk about a couple little things really quick. I just covered the no yarn buying, which I did a great job at. I stuck to my exceptions, and I'm really proud of myself. I did make a dent in my stash that really isn't that large to begin with, and I have some ideas for some more things in my stash this year. So that'll be fun to work through still, because I love the yarn I have. So let's see, 2012. I published more patterns. Going into last year, I only had 1 pattern on Ravelry. Well, 1 paid pattern. I might have had a free pattern on there. Anyways, all the rest of them that you see in my store are new to 2012, and I'm really excited about them. I'm really, really excited about what I have coming in 2013. And I have some stuff on the needles already, the yarn for some stuff, and just lots of ideas rolling around in my head and things jotted down in my designing notebook. And so it's going to be fun. So stay tuned. As far as spinning goes in 2012, I hit my goal when I started spinning. My goal was to get a 3-ply fingering weight. And I'm going to show it later in the spinning section, but I was able to accomplish that, and it was such a great feeling. It's not perfect. No hand spun yarn is absolutely perfect, and that's fine with me. I just wanted to be able to spin my own sock yarn because I love sock yarn. I know all you do too, because that's what we all buy. That's why a lot of the indie dyers carry mostly sock yarn, because it's gorgeous and we love it, and we can make so many things out of it. So I guess I should say fingering weight, not sock. But my goal was to make a pair of socks, so that's why I'm calling it sock weight. Moving on. There's my notes. I'm ready for the new year. 2012 was good in a lot of ways, bad in a lot of ways. I'm ready for the fresh start that the new year brings. I'm ready for a new focus. I'm just ready to move on and see what the new year has in store. So moving on to 2013. My focus for this year is going to be designing, and I'm really excited about that. Like I've said, I think I've said excited 20 or 30 times so far. I like the things that I have in mind. I think all of you will too. It's great that a lot of people are doing the year of the sweater, because one of the first things I have, actually the thing that I will start after I'm done with the socks I'm working on, is going to be a sweater. So that'll cater to all of those people who are knitting sweaters this year. And I feel like I've come so far in the past year, even though I didn't put a lot of patterns out. I've written a lot of things down, and I've experimented, and I've done a lot in that respect. So hold on, I just thought of something. Sorry. So I'm just really, like I was saying, I feel like I've grown a lot as a designer, even if you guys haven't seen a lot on the published side. And what I have in store and the ideas that I have, I really think could be big. I have a book idea that is going to be my focus after the first couple things that I have in mind, and I'm just, it's going to be so much fun, and I hope you all will follow me through my journey and help me to be inspired and give me ideas and feedback, and I think this could be a fun collaboration if you're willing to share some ideas. That, let me see, that covers, yeah, no, I lied. Sorry, I lied. The other thing that I want to try to do is, when I do buy yarn, it'll either be for specific designs or specific projects, or I want to get larger quantities of a single thing. I want to be able to have a sweater lot of a worsted or a DK weight when I either decide to design one or I find a pattern that I want to knit, because I hate having to go and search every time I want to make a sweater. That's something I don't have, is sweater quantities. And I don't want a lot of sweater quantities, because then my house is small. I don't have room for, 20 sweaters worth of yarn, but I want to get 2 or 3 in different weights. I want to be able to have some for a fingering weight. I have enough for a sport weight. I want to get enough for a DK weight, and then a worsted. So not a lot, just 3 sweater quantities. I haven't decided what yarn or anything yet, but it'll tell me what it wants to be when the time comes. So that is all for 2013. Now for the huge news that I've been dying to tell you, but I had to get all of the everything finalized and everything nailed down. Lisa, Fiber Nymph from the 90% Knitting podcast, and I are going to be hosting a knit along together this month and next month. It is going to pair her wonderful yarn and my Diersta shawl pattern, and I could not be more excited. She is the very first podcast that I ever started watching, and I've watched every single episode that she's ever done, and I went totally fangirl on her today when I was responding to one of her messages, and I don't know how many times I've apologized to her for probably sounding like a total lunatic stalker, because I'm just so excited that I get to pair up with someone who I have watched and whose yarn I love, and who thinks that my design is worthy of putting her yarn with. It's going to go from now, if you have some of her yarn, or if you just want to knit along with the pattern, if you've already purchased the pattern or whatever, it's not strict as far as you have to have her yarn in order to knit the Diersta shawl. I would never say that. The pairing of us together is to promote her yarn and my pattern, but if you already have yarn for it, go right ahead. But I would encourage you to at least look into her yarn. It's go into her group, and she has links. You can look at either 90% Knitting or Fiber Nymph Dye Works, and there's not a lot in her shop right now, but you can look at the cost and things like that. And I'm starting to get ahead of myself, but I'll talk about the yarn in a minute. But please join in. Go on and buy the pattern and jump in, because our focus right now is I want to knit something for me. I knit all these Christmas presents for all these other people, and I got burned out. And even if you didn't, pretend like you did. And I thought, you know what, it would be fun to just knit something for yourself. And this is that. The shawl can go anywhere from a shawlette all the way up to a full-size shawl. And heck, if you don't want to be a selfish knitter and you want to start knitting on your Christmas presents already, make a shawl for someone for Christmas. But join in. Please, please, please join in. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a thread on my group and in hers. Please feel free to share pictures and post in both of them. I have so many things and so much excitement, and I wish it could just all go out to you. So I hope I'm not jumbling things around too much. On top of her agreeing to pair up and team up with me for this, she has decided that she wants to create a special colorway just for this knit along. I seriously freaked out when I read that this morning, and I messaged Jake really fast online, and I was like, she wants to make a special colorway. So anyway, Lisa, if you're watching this, I promise I'm not totally crazy. I'm just really super excited. We're still in the planning process. It's going to be tonal, but yet have different colors. It's going to be more along the idea of a tonal than like a bright variegated with really sharply contrasting colors. It'll be colors that complement each other and meld together really well. Like I said, we're still in the planning stages of that, but just know it's going to be gorgeous. And she is going to do, instead of having to just catch an update and try to get the few that are in stock, she's going to have a special pre-order, and that is going to go up at noon on January 7th. And noon for her is Eastern Standard, Eastern Daylight, whatever, Eastern Time, East Coast of the United States. So figure that out for your time zone. There's a, I don't know, what time is it, or timezone.com or something like that if you aren't in the U.S. and aren't sure what time it is. Noon on the 7th is when those pre-order slots are going to be available for purchase, and there's going to be 30 of them. I don't remember if I said that. There's going to be 30 spots available, and she has committed to shipping it out within 2 weeks of you placing that order, and that will give you plenty of time to get the yarn and be in for the knit along. The yarn that she's going to be using is her Sunshine base. There's 490 yards of a light fingering weight. It's a superwash merino. There's a period at the end of that sentence. And she also wanted me to mention that she's going to have a regular shop update on January 11th and January 25th. So if you decide that you don't want that yarn, the special colorway, but you want to try and get some of her yarn in a different base or just a different color, you can catch one of those other updates. And she's really quick with her shipping turnaround, so you'll still have plenty of time to get in on the knit along. The shawl really is a fast knit once you get going, and I have it memorized. Once I get past the first pattern repeat, I can just take it with me and not even worry about reading the pattern. So if you're worried about that with the time, don't worry, you'll have plenty of time. With the 490 yards, obviously you can't do the full size shawl, but if you're going for either using yarn that you already have or going for an update, you can always buy 2 skeins if you wanted to make the full size shawl. So I'm really excited, if you couldn't tell. So, hitting stuff on the table. Now on to the knitting content. The show right now is as long as the last 2 episodes have been from beginning to end, and I'm just now getting to what's on the needles. But that's okay. They were short, and this one's going to be a little longer, and that's fine. Oh, did you see my nice picture that I hung up? I thought that it was a little boring just looking at a plain white background, and this is the best place I have to record. And we just got this painting. My husband's grandma actually painted this, and I decided it was the perfect size to just kind of give you a little something to, you know, for a background. It kind of reminds me of when you're watching the news and they have that little screen pop up with the, with the headlines. But anyways, okay, what's on the needles? First of all, I have my cursed cable socks. If you remember, those are the ones that I'm designing out of Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And of course, the one that's finished is not in my bag. It's over there in my living room. So I'll just show you the one that's on the needles. If you remember, I was using my signature size 1 needles. Well, I had to change needles because the other day, let's hold it up in front of the wall, the cable broke. Let's turn it here. Right at where it meets the needle. I went onto their website and emailed them right away. They were closed for the holiday. So I emailed them letting them know what happened, and then I went into their Ravelry group, and apparently I'm not the first person that this has happened to, and I'm hoping that they're going to fix whatever the problem is. It seems to me that the cable is pinched a little bit, and I do magic loop, and so it's turned, you know, like this as I'm knitting, and I think just from it being pinched down, it's a weak spot, you know, and I can see on this other one that it, you know, that it does that. And anyway, it is what it is. I hope the next pair works and doesn't break. If not, I guess I'll just keep replacing them until until I get a pair that doesn't break. But anyways, I heard back from them today, and apparently they've changed their policy. All they said was send us a picture of the broken needle and tell us what length and everything, and we'll send you out a new one. You don't have to mail it back. So I don't know if they've changed their policy for all the needles, or if it's just that they've had enough happen with the size 1s that they're just not bothering having people send them back. I don't know. Anyways, so I put my sock onto my Chow Goo lace, red lace tips. They're not my total favorite needles, but they're not as sharp as they used to be. I think I've kind of worn down the tip, so they're not quite so pokey like they were. So I'm enjoying them a lot more than I did. So here is the second sock. The first one came from over here and went this way. So this is the left sock. It starts back here, and that's why it's kind of funky right here. But when you have it on your leg and spread it out, it won't be funky. I have just finished the leg, and I'm getting ready to start the foot. I will have to put the Afterthought heel yarn in, and then I'll be onto the foot. These should be finished, what's today, Wednesday? Well, in the next few days. I don't know. It depends on, I've had ADD when it comes to my knitting lately, so sooner than later, and then I'll get heels on them. I have tweaked the pattern just a bit since I started these, and so they aren't exactly what the finished pattern will be. I just have been kind of playing with how I want to increase and decrease on either side to make it the look match. So anyways, this is out of the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Bounce Base, which is her merino nylon blend. It comes with 400 yards, I'm wanting to say. This is the Finders Keepers colorway. I love it. Nice and soft, very nice to work with. I'm really enjoying it. So, size 1, 2.25 millimeter. Yep. All right, next is, I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, I said that I had a Diersta shawl on the needles that hadn't gotten any love, but would come back into rotation, and it has. I did one pattern repeat yesterday. This is in my 31 bag, my zipper bag. This is the yarn that I'm using. Let's see if, yeah, that's pretty good, pretty close to color, pretty true to whatever. It has pinks and greens and I don't even know. Mostly pinks and greens and kind of purples, and then there's some spots where it's more undyed. So it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's 50/50 silk merino. It is Rain City Fiber Arts Vachon sock, 437 yards. And I got this up at Sock Summit last year, and I am really enjoying how it knits up. Let's see. You can see I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 pattern repeats done. And I'm just going to go pretty much until I run out of yarn. And this is so soft and luscious, and I can't wait to have it done. This is on my size 6 signature stiletto point, which is 4.0 millimeter. So that, like I said, that has gone back into rotation. Once I get the yarn for the knit along, if I'm not done with this already, I'll probably put it to the side because I'll be making another one because, you know, I have to participate in my own knit along. so I will be starting another one. So I'll have Dierstas all over the place. So anyways, there is that one. Let's see if I wrote anything else about that. I did not. I didn't write down the colorway. I don't know. If you want to know it, let me know and I'll tell you. The next thing, is a pair of socks that I haven't knit on in a while. It's a pattern that I designed that my plan is just to put it out as a free pattern. I knit one last year. It ended up being way too tight because of the stitch pattern. So I pulled it out and redid it, and this is what it looks like. I'm just calling it the chevron sock for now. It has, does it have an afterthought heel? No, it's a short row heel. And I have, this is just some Knit Picks, plain black sock yarn, whatever their sock yarn is. I'm sorry. I don't remember what it's called. The colored yarn is Damselfly Yarns, and she's an indie dyer. I bought this up at Sock Summit, and here it is in the skein. This is the carnelian colorway. And I made this whole sock, from the first one that I did, and I still have this much left. That's how tight the first one was. I couldn't get it over my foot, and I used my regular size. Well, at that time I was using zeros, but the chevron, I didn't realize that the chevron pattern would suck it in so much. So I went from a 0 to a 1.5, and it fits perfectly. And that's why, I don't know if you can tell, the yarn is pretty bumpy. It's because it was knit for a year before I was pulling it out, and I am lazy and didn't want to re-block it. I figure I'm going to block it anyway when it's done, so it's going to smooth out, and I'm not worried about it. So I will be knitting off the rest of this first, and then I will knit off of my skein. My second sock, I started it when I was standing waiting for a DVD player on Black Friday, and was able to get this much of the toe done. So, and I haven't worked on it since then. I wanted to show you because it's going back into my rotation, and hopefully I'll at least have the toe done next week, and maybe a stripe or two to show you on that. So, and that is, her Sturdy Sheep base. I was going to tell you that. It's the Damselfly yarn Sturdy Sheep in the carnelian, size 1.5, 2.5 millimeter. And it's a merino nylon 75-25 blend. And it's in my BSU bag. Lastly, I have a new project on the needles that I took with me and started while I was watching Les Mis, because it's in the round and it's easy and I didn't have anything that I didn't have to look at. This is the Anansi skirt, which is out of, sorry, I'm not talking very well. It's out of Barocco Comfort DK. It's right here in front of me. I was going to say something else. This is the yarn that I got when I was at Jimmy Bean's that I showed in my first episode. It's the Cartwheel colorway. I think that was going off memory. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And I've done, let's turn it here. I've done one increase here, and then I actually just did the second increase row, but I haven't done the purl ridge yet around. I'm just getting to that right now. That'll be the row that I do when I start knitting again. So I love how this yarn is knitting up, and it's really soft, and she's excited about it. I'm doing this on size, is this on 6? Yeah, this is on size 6 as well. Some old, these are my old Denise needles. I had them sitting around and they were the right circumference. So size 6, 4.0 millimeter needles. And yes, this will fit her because it's very stretchy and she's dang skinny. But I did try it on her, and it actually has room. She has room to grow in it. What I will do later on, I don't put eyelets in, but I will be putting a drawstring through here. The reason I don't put eyelets is because sometimes they can stretch out or just kind of change how things look. And with the last one, what I did was I just would go through on the purl side, you know, just pick a spot and put it through, and it works just fine. So anyways, there's that. You're going to see a lot of progress on this because it is mindless. So I kind of take it everywhere. It's almost going to take the place of my sock, purse sock at this point. This is in my Indigo Dragonfly project bag. It's been washed a couple of times, and unfortunately the screen printing really faded. So anyways, I got that up at Sock Summit. So alright, I feel like I'm just rambling on. I'm really sorry about that. Finished objects. I don't have a ton this week. I have 2. One of them I was working on last week. It was the damsel hat for Cayenne. Here is the finished, let's see if I can turn it the right way. Here's the finished hat. She loves it and looks so cute in it. It's kind of a cloche style hat. Here, let me, I happen to have a styrofoam head sitting here. There we go. Now you can see what it looks like. And with her short hair, this just looks adorable. Go into my pattern page or my projects, and there's pictures of her wearing it proudly, and she loves it. She was super excited when I gave it to her. So that was the yarn is called Pure Gold DK. I don't know where you can buy it. I don't even know where I bought it. I bought it online years ago. It's on Ravelry, so you know and it doesn't say it's discontinued, but I have no idea where to buy it. So anyways, it's 100% acrylic, but it's not cheap junky acrylic. It's nice, and this was made on size 3.25 millimeter needles. The second FO I have is a Chromebook cover. If you don't know what a Chromebook is, it is the newest gadget put out from Google. It is essentially a computer based in Google. So that's my new toy. I'll show it to you later, not to that part yet. But I wanted a cover for it because I want to be able to take it with me and have it protected. And so I just made up my own little pattern here. This yarn is Mel-Tran's Magic Garden in the Circus colorway. I am so happy with it. I didn't know it was going to stripe like this, and I love it. It's super soft. Did I say it was 100% acrylic? It's 100% acrylic, but it's really soft and fuzzy, and this knit up really quick, and it was a great way to use up that yarn. And it's nice and thick because I did kind of a, I don't know, some knits and purls and then some knit rows. And anyways, you can't really see with this, but what I'm going to do is knit it again with a solid yarn, and then I'll probably throw it up as a free pattern because Chromebooks are so new that there's not any cover patterns up for them yet. So anyway, there's that. On to spinning. I don't have any new spinning this week, but I figured two of my spinning things, two of my spun yarns have to do with, you know, kind of a 2012 recap. So I thought I'd show them to you and talk about them a little bit really quick. The first one is called Cherry Sundae. These were 2 bats, 1 bat, 2 bats. It's 2 bats. That's why I did a 2-ply. It's a 2-ply from 2 bats. They had brown and red merino white BFL and brown and red Firestar. Here's what it looks like. It's not consistent. I was spinning it just for fun. I was just having, you know, just letting it do what it wanted to, and I wasn't trying for consistency. I just loved the colors. Sorry, it's been in the hank there for a while. Anyways, I was just letting it do whatever it wanted to, and I am so happy with it. Overall, I'd say it's heavy fingering, maybe a light sport, kind of right in there. There are some thicker spots, you know, of course, but overall, I'm so happy with it, and I entered it into the Fiber-Train, if you remember me mentioning it. Fiber-Train is a new fiber festival that we have here in Nampa, in my hometown, and they had a skein, you know, a spinning contest. I don't know. I could enter a skein of yarn and get it judged, whatever. And I entered it in the something category. I don't know. I entered it and I won my category. That's all that matters. I won, and it made me feel really good. Here is the swatch. We had to knit up a swatch, you know, for the entry. Here's how it looked. I'm sorry, my camera does not autofocus, and I wrote to them and said, hey, it says it autofocuses, but when I put something close to it, it doesn't. Anyways, let's see if I can at least show you. I love how it looks. It is fuzzy. It has gotten fuzzy. You know, it's been around, and now I see how it's going to wear. My plan is one of the garter stitch shawls that are out there. I think that would show off the colors really well. It's soft. It passes my neck test. I had a hitchhiker at one point that I took out. I'm leaning towards hitchhiker or maybe the Trillium. I don't know. I have the set of 4 of Martina Bem's hitchhiker series, but I'm leaning really hard towards a hitchhiker. If you have another idea for it, please tell me. I'm open to suggestions. I'm not ready to cast it on yet, so, you know, whatever. The second thing I wanted to show you was my 3-ply fingering weight that I was able to obtain. I was able to get it. The thing is, my goal was to make socks. Well, apparently I'm an overachiever because I didn't get the standard, you know, 420 yards to 4 ounces thing. I got 504 yards, which means it's a light fingering. You can see, well, it's not going to focus, but I can still show you how thin it is. It is 100% BFL. It's a white and a brown undyed blended together. I love how it looks, and now I don't know what I'm going to make with it, because in order for me to get a tight enough gauge for socks with a light fingering, I would have to go down to at least a 00. I don't want to do that. My fingers don't want me to do that. So I'm going to make it into something else. I don't know what yet. It's kind of a tough yarn because I was spinning it so tightly, you know, trying to get it nice. I mean, it's not scratchy or anything, but I don't know that it would lend itself really well to like lace work or anything like that. If you have ideas, please tell me. I'm not opposed to over dyeing it. If it was going to be socks, I wanted to keep it the natural color, but I've played with the idea of dyeing red over it because brown turns a really cool red and the white would turn a really cool red, and the two of them together would be awesome. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Please, please, please. Either post it on Plurk or I don't care. Just somehow communicate it to me. I don't care if you have to send smoke signals. Tell me what I should do. That is all for spinning. My plan is to try to spin this week. I've been watching other podcasts and they're all spinning, and I want to spin. So I think I will. Even if I get my drop spindle out, I'll do something to show you guys. On to designing. Before I forget, I was going to announce my official tally of how many yards I was able to knit last year. I did not, I'm going to open this up over here. I didn't write it down, but I have it right here if you don't mind. A couple seconds. I can look because I want to be exact. I ended up hitting 20,138 yards, which ends up being about 11.5 miles of yarn knit by these 10 fingers. When I saw that number, I was like, holy cow. So anyway, that was my total for the year, and I'm really excited about that. I don't know that I'll ever knit that much in a year again, especially a year like this where I'm going to be designing, and so a lot of my knitting time isn't going to necessarily be knitting, or it'll be a lot of unknitting. So anyways, I wanted to squeak that in there because I'm going to have to turn my page and I had written a note. Moving on to designing. I don't know if you remember last week or if you haven't watched before, I got some yarn from Chris at Briar Rose Fibers for a sweater that I'm designing, and it wasn't what I thought it was when I ordered it. So I told her it wasn't working. Well, after a lot of stress, I told her it just wasn't going to work. She was so kind and so gracious, and she has replaced it with a new yarn, and she's just been so wonderful to work with. And the new yarn, here's the funny thing, the new yarn that is thicker is actually the yarn that she sent me to swatch with. I'm assuming that she grabbed the wrong yarn to send me, because what she sent me is the exact weight, the exact yarn. Do you remember when I talked about it on the first podcast? I don't have the little swatch here, but I'll show you the big lot in a minute. The twist and how big and fluffy it was and all that. And then the other yarn came in and it was just a regular worsted weight and all this. So I said, it's too small, I need a thicker yarn. She said, oh, try the Robusta. It's great for coat, kind of what you're wanting to do. I said, great, found a color. She sent it. It is perfect. Perfect. So it's exactly what I was looking for. She was wonderful. I was on her website today looking at the prices, and she is, for how many yards you get, she's much lower than a lot of the other indie dyers out there. So moving along, because I'm watching my time. The color that I got was aptly named 2006. She just numbers. I want to first show you the hank. This is a bulky weight yarn. It's 100% wool, and it comes in 500 yard hanks. Yeah. Here it is. Here is a big honkin' hank of blue. Color is kind of messing around with me here. Let's see if I can stay on screen but get the color. Yeah, that's pretty true. I mean, this hank is humongous. Anyway, I decided to get 3 of them because my gut was telling me that 1,000 yards wasn't going to be enough. Even if it is, I just, sorry, I'm going to mess with this for a second. I had to go with my gut. And it said to get all 3 skeins that she had in her shop, so I did. Because the hank is so huge and my ball winder is just one of those blue and white little ones, I decided to wind the balls by hand. Yeah. They're that big. I have big balls. What can I say? I'm not going to say anything about the color. Anyway, so these are the balls of yarn that will turn into my awesome sweater that I'm so excited about. Look at all those different shades. Oh, can't wait. Anyway, the wall isn't orange anymore. So I'm really super excited about that, and I'm anxious to get the socks done so I can get that on the needles and really just start busting it out. The other thing I had to talk about in designing was that I had tweaked a couple things in the socks, which I already talked about, and when I get that all figured out, I will get test knitters going. My plan is to get it out this month to testers. So be watching on in my group I'm going to post when testing is going to be starting and also on Plurk. So follow me on one of those places if you're interested in testing these. Last section. I'm sorry this is so long. Acquisitions. I actually have something for this section. First of all, my Chromebook. Hey, look. There's the reflection of me. This thing is so much fun. It has a 12-inch screen. Whoop. And when you turn it off, you just shut it off. You don't have to shut it down. You just hold the power button and it turns it off. Or you just close it. When you want to turn it on, either you can just open it and it'll automatically boot up, or you push the power button and it boots up almost instantly. It's awesome. It's kind of similar to a tablet in that it doesn't have a lot of memory and it boots up really quick and all that kind of stuff, but it has the perks of a laptop in that you have the the attached keyboard and the mouse pad and stuff like that. It doesn't have a touch screen, but I'm fine with that. The mouse pad, the way they have theirs going, apparently is a lot like a Mac. I don't know. I don't have Macs, so I don't know. Apple stuff. Anyway, moving along. I love it. My hubby did well, and I'm very happy to have it. The other thing I have that I got from my sister in our family gift exchange. Look how huge this book is. It weighs like 20 pounds. Not really, but it weighs a lot. And I sat down and looked at every single page. I didn't read all of it, but I looked at all the pictures of the sheepies. And one of these weeks I'll do kind of a book review. I'm already at 46 minutes and I don't want to do that. But I will do a book review. Oh, and I got this from my dad. Isn't he so nice? I stuck it in my book so I wouldn't lose it, and then I promptly said, Dad, if I call you freaking out and wondering where my money is, it's in my book. So anyways, I will do a book review on this. If you couldn't see the title, it's the Fleece and Fiber Source Book. More than 200 fibers from animal to spun yarn. So anyways, I will talk about that because it's amazing, and I was so excited when I opened up the box. Lastly, two things. One, my acquisitions will actually be a section while I have yarn coming in over the next couple weeks. Yay! Because two of the things I ordered are coming from the UK, so I don't know how long it'll take them to get here. And last but not least, in case anyone's wondering what I'm wearing, this is the Traveling Woman, the free version of the Traveling Woman shawl that is made out of Cascade Heritage sock yarn. And then at the bottom, okay, so I made this, and then I made a pair of knee highs. I'm actually wearing them right now. That I ran out of yarn, so I took the edging repeat off so I could finish the socks. And then I had this hand-dyed yarn that matched it pretty well, and so I just put it on as the edging, and it changed the whole look. Woo, the whole look of the shawl. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I can't wear it all the time because bright orange, even though I live in, BSU haven over here, bright orange shawls aren't something you can always, find something to wear with. So I figured everything matches my Sock Summit shirt. So anyways, one request that I have, one of the goals that I just thought of talking about my Sock Summit shirt, this is the only knitting related shirt I own. Please direct me to knitting shirts that are not vulgar. I know some of them are not really kid friendly, and I have 3 kids, so if you know of some sites with some good knitting shirts, please tell me so I can stock up a little bit. That's all I have for you today. I hope your 2013 has gotten off to a good start, and that all of your knitting and spinning and everything dreams come true, and I hope that we get to know each other better, and please come join the Ravelry group and let's get things going. I'm trying, and I'm talking to myself still. So come and talk about your 2013 goals and join the knit along. And on that note, until next time, keep knitting. Bye.